StockTwits crew, good morning and happy Tuesday. A lot of craziness going on over the weekend and then just last night. This is a crazy start to the week already. So we're gonna get into everything on the show this morning. But Shy, how we feeling? I know, I know we had some earnings that we're gonna get into and some stuff to talk about. But how we feeling about the morning?
I mean, my top dog, my top position is up 23% pre-market. So Palantir's expectations are sky high, and they delivered the type of earnings they needed to not just maintain their valuation, but to essentially add, like, I don't even know what the enterprise value. They're a $200 billion company now, which is nuts to say because it feels like just yesterday they were at 15 billion 2 years ago. So yesterday's print was really strong, and it justified them adding around like $30 billion in market cap. So that's showing that's obviously nice to see. But earnings season is just getting started this week. Like today is a big one with AMD and Google.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into it. Let's recap with the daily rip from yesterday. Let's prepare for the day here. Here's the heat map. A little more red, but still some green out there. Some green in the healthcare area. Consumer defensive. Meta staying green. Love to see that. But Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, AVGO, all your majority of the tech names taking some red days. So Tesla also looking nasty. Although I'm gonna be looking for trades on Tesla today potentially. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, anything standing out to you, Shy?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was software heavy. I think again, I think the repositioning in software is the place you want to be. Nvidia violating their 200-day moving average or 40-week SMA, like that's something that's alarming. That's a brand new characteristic in the stock that hasn't occurred in years. That's when stage four breakdowns occur. You're seeing also like some other assets kind of show weakness. Like you saw Bitcoin went broke 100,000 again. Apple, I mean, clearly, I think Apple is driven by the China potential tariffs. Like that's heavy exposure in China, and you saw their last earnings report. Like it was ugly. Their China sales, like they missed by billions. Um, and yeah, Tesla again, tariff talks. It's either although tariffs like got the can got pushed, kicked down the road a bit with China, with Mexico and Canada. It's still somewhat of a narrative headwind, and I think you're clearly seeing Elon is willing to sacrifice their EV business to go all in on autonomy. And you're seeing Kathy Woods this morning, they released research where she believes that Tesla's robotaxi revenue will bring in, what was the number? It was $34 trillion in enterprise value in the next 5 years for Tesla's robotaxi alone. 34 trillion, I said. 34. I think that even it like that's probably what the hell. Even if it's 10% accurate at $3 trillion value, that's a double from here, and that's something I don't think you can. If you're an automaker, I don't think you'll ever will be worth trillions of $1 trillion ever because business economics is just not there for it. So I'm okay, like I'm fully on board with Elon sacrificing their EV business to go all in on autonomy, but right now all the fundamentals are EV business related. So if there's tariffs, that's going to hurt in their near term earnings, and that's where you're seeing Tesla suffer a bit past couple days.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, well, let's. What else we got? The fastest trade war in history. Stocks sold off on Friday as President Trump imposed 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, enacting the rule way earlier than anticipated over the weekend. Both countries retaliated with their own tariffs, causing stocks and other risk assets to plummet sharply on Sunday evening when the futures market opened. And then the market traded sideways for the most of the pre-market session and looked like it was set to make fresh lows shortly after the open. However, a discussion with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum led to a month-long pause of both countries' tariffs after they agreed on steps to reinforce border security. Later in the day, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the implementation of a $1.3 billion border plan, increasing resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. The country is also making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl Caesar, Cesar, Kazar, I don't know, used $200 million for a new intelligence directive on organized crime and more. And just as quickly as it began, the North American trade war of 2025 was over, but not without lots of volatility to chop up traders and investors in the process. Proposed tariffs from all countries will be paused for at least 30 days as discussions continue. However, this situation signals what most of us already knew. Volatility will likely remain elevated in 2025 as the new administration implements its proposal in classic Trump fashion, with optics at the forefront of every decision. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, right? Volatility is here to stay, in my opinion, and it's nothing new. Everybody's acting like this is some big surprise, like this is something crazy. Guys, we saw this when Trump came, when Trump was president this last time. Same thing is happening. It's nothing new. So I think it just really goes to show who's kind of been around in the trading world as well for a little while versus the people that are like just coming in. You know what I mean? Because if you're freaking out about this, I mean, this just happened not that long ago. This is nothing to freak out about. It's just volatility in the market. You gotta account for it, and you gotta be able to shift in the environment we're trading in, right? So, and I've definitely done that personally. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, 2024 was a swingers market. Absolutely, hold positions for weeks, months. It's not that market in 2025. I just look at the charts, right? Look at the charts since January started. It's back and forth. It is not a swingers market right now. It is definitely more of an intraday traders market or shorter term traders market. So I'm gonna keep going with that, right? We're gonna keep capitalizing on that price action until it changes. But Shay, you got any big thoughts on obviously what's talked about here with the tariffs and everything? I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but any other thoughts?
Yeah, so tariffs, it's just a high stakes poker game. I don't think much will come of it. It might just be an narrative overhang, which again, it's detrimental to it's the ankle weights of any kind of bounce we see in the market is going to be uh, lose the velocity of any move. So I think that's my take on tariffs. I think for volatility, you guys are like fully aware whenever the VIX hits a 14 handle, I buy protection. I think buying hedging is cheap. When it historically it's between 12 or $15 the VIX, but I'm willing to like participate at 14 because in a Trump-led presidency, it's not like a normal volatile time period for other presidents. Like I think there's somewhat of a premium uh, in a Trump-led presidency for volatility. So when it hits a 14, like I think, especially in the first 100 days, when you're seeing him essentially make his moves, that's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. It's gonna be that high stakes poker game, like I mentioned, where it's just gonna be maybe a lot of bluffing, but either way, it's noise, and the market hates noise. It hates uncertainty, and it's gonna cause some fear. So I think VIX is going to be very choppy or volatility, and when it looks cheap, I'm going to be hedging. When it hit 20 yesterday, I sold like immediately. Like I'm playing that volatility. The, I think Jordan mentioned this yesterday. Like this is a trader's paradise almost in the Trump presidency, where you're getting these like wicked moves up and right, and up and down. You're seeing certain patterns emerge in the past couple of weeks that just weren't there in the previous years, and you're finally getting that juice or the fuel necessary to like make big dollars. Where before it was just like it was stuck in mud at these moves. Now it's not the
It's
case.
just
So
different, right?
yeah.
Like this last year, every long-term investor and their mother is loving life because everything's making all-time highs. And I mean, if you're a long-term investor, you're still loving life. You're still well in the green, right? But obviously, this market is a little bit different. You're probably not as excited about it because we've just gone sideways since the year's ended for a bigger time frame trader, right? But that's where just being able to kind of shift your trading and be able to kind of just change with the environment, right? And be able to adapt. That's what we have to do as traders, you know what I mean? And if you can't, right? If it's like, oh, I'm not that style of trader, then that's time off, right? I mean, what else do you do, Shy, in that situation, right? I mean, if you're not a trader that can capitalize on this type of movement, it's time to sit out until you can, right? I mean, I don't know what else you're
Mhm.
gonna do right there, right? So moving on, let's see what else we got. Palantir pumps to new all-time highs. We talked about this a little bit. Me and Shy were actually thinking we would see lower levels. I personally was looking more towards the $70-$60 range. I thought we were going to see on this earnings. We got surprised and definitely were wrong there. So got the massive gap up. I think we're at $104, $105 right now. So looking really good. The StockTwits community has been a major fan of Palantir during most of its epic run, and expectations were high heading into today's results, well, yesterday's results. Roughly 54% of the 3,600 polled investors expected a significant gap up after earnings, and boy, did they get it. So yeah, love to see the stock twits community, predicting that. It's always nice. Love to see it. So shout out the crew
I mean,
there. What's up, Shay?
the reason we were so bullish or not bearish yesterday is just like for me specifically, I can talk my own experience where I knew they had a guide up significantly. Like right now, the street thought's 26%. I was like, I think 30% would do the trick, but like that's a big disconnect from the street. All the analysts thinking 26% next year, coming in at 30%. They came in at 31%. So that was like, whoa, great guide. Operating margins were like even more impressive. So like, this is like one of those rare stories where they're like, I think it's 7 straight quarters of revenue reacceleration they've experienced while margins drastically expanded as well. When you have a combination like that, it's it's a rare breed. It's a unicorn status. And for Palantir, they got the street wanted 26%, they got it for 31%, but the operating margin, again, the operating margin profit driver where they make cash. Street wanted 38%. They came in at 42% for the full year. This is full year. And they're notorious for like not it's not sandbagging, but like it's usually their full year guys are pretty light. And they're doing 31% top line, 42% bottom line. That's nuts. That's a Rule 40 score of 73 for the whole year of 2025. And you also saw the RPO, the remaining pricing obligation, which is essentially what the money's going to be flowing through eventually, but they can't recognize it yet. That's growing at 40% year over year. So that's indicating to me that, whoa, 31%, like I can see that guiding maybe closer to 35%. And this is also with the government business lagging. Like the government side of their business used to carry the stock. And clearly the commercial is the star of the show now. And I think we can all agree that geopolitical tensions are accelerating. There's an AI arms race, East versus West, clear just from 2 weeks ago. Do you not think there's going to be a stupid amount of governance flow that's going to be coming through Palantir in the coming year, 2 years, 3 years? So when you have the commercial side of their business hitting their inflection points, carrying the company right now, knowing that the government flow will come as well, I'm just like, I think this could be a 35% CAGR for the next couple of years with 40% operating margins already. That's unheard of. And it doesn't have the cyclical risk like an Nvidia. I know everyone's saying, oh, Nvidia produced those kind of numbers like the past 2 years. Hardware spend is cyclical. It's not the same for Palantir. It isn't. Palantir is recurring. Palantir is where AI meets permanence. It really is. That's the enterprise. They're the operating system of AI, and nobody really knows the ceiling on AI. All we know is this is going to be the company that's going to be the operating system for it. And they're just reporting firework numbers. And the only hole in the thesis for Palantir is valuation. When everything else is firing on all cylinders, you got to just applaud. Like they're just capitalizing it. They're executing, and they have a huge retail investing audience that kind of is lifting the narrative up as well for a lot of people. Like they're perfectly set up. Having said that, I wouldn't. I've been very vocal. It's $60 in this name. Like I wouldn't touch this valuation. I still wouldn't, even they got it up. But that's the beauty of front running these massive moves before they get re-rated. Where I became overweight in this name under $10. I have no urgency to get more. It's a number one position for me already. Why get more? But if you're one of those investors who didn't participate in Palantir and you feel FOMO behavior, you want that AI exposure, this has to be on the top of your buy list when there's any kind of macro driven pullback in the market. Like there's going to be some crazy swings. This is gonna be one of those names where you slowly DCA, but you gotta wait for those pullbacks in the market. And bravo Palantir. I didn't think they would be able to break $100, but I also didn't think they'd produce a Rule 40 score of 81 this most previous earnings, and also guide to a Rule 40 score of 71 for the full year of 2025. Like, wow.
Yeah, so hats off Palantir. Eric Trump's crypto pump. I don't know if anybody saw this yesterday, but crypto took a major dive during the tariff news, but recovered most of its losses along with the stock market as trade agreements were hammered out. However, it wouldn't be a day in crypto without some old-fashioned grifting. Today, Eric Trump took to X to pump his Ethereum bag, saying it's a great time to add ETH. He also said, "You can thank me later," before quickly editing that out, likely at the request of his legal team. Oh, I didn't know they edited that out because I saw the tweet and it still had that in there. So that's funny. Love to see that. That's funny. Yeah, it was probably that was probably from the media team. They were like, "Yo, you should probably take that out." I'm sure that was what that was. But funny stuff there. Any thoughts on this, Shy? This is
I
the
just think
market
it's
we're in,
wild.
right? This is the market we're in now. I mean, it's
No,
hilarious.
it's wild. Like some random manager of some like Fortune 500 company can't like invest in their space because they might have some vague information what's happening. But you have Eric Trump, the son of the president, clearly saying something's coming down the pipeline for Ethereum. I added, you guys should too, and that's gray area. That's okay. It's just it's it's crazy times, and like you have a president who launched a shitcoin, like a meme coin. Like what? That's what's happening. Like this is a wild. It feels like a Black Mirror episode. It really
America,
does.
baby.
It
That's
really
what's
does.
happening.
Jeez, it's nuts. So like,
Oh, this
I'm
is
to answer your
craziness.
question. I'm not surprised, but like things are getting. It's the greatest reality TV show in the world. Is what's happening right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw it. Just reminded me of that. It's so funny. I saw a TikTok of just like it was a compilation of U.S. politics of like the funniest, most outlandish moments that have happened, and it's just like it's funny. Oh, and that's our politics. It's all a joke. Today's top things: economic data. We got jolts at 10 a.m. So watch out for that. We should see some volatility. Factory orders also coming in at the same time. We got some Fed speakers. Bostic speech at 11. Daily speech at 2 p.m. Eastern. Jefferson speech at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So tonight that'll be after market hours, but still something to keep note of. The pre-market earnings going on are PayPal, Spotify, Pfizer. We got Merck, Regeneron, Pepsi, Nintendo, Estee Lauder, Ferrari, KKR and Co, and Apollo Global. And then after hours, it's gonna be another big day. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys are listening to these earnings calls on the Stock Twits page. But we got Google, Snap, AMD, Chipotle, Enphase, EA, Lumen Tech, Match Group, and Oscar Health. So plenty of more earnings coming out. And honestly, it's not going anywhere. We got earnings next week. We got earnings the week after. And then the week after that, I think we got Nvidia. So plenty of earnings coming up. It's not going away quite yet. So we should expect some more volatility. Any big names you're watching, Shy?
Yeah, I mean earnings is just getting started. We're not like we're getting the meat of it, but yeah, this morning PayPal's down. I think 7 or 8%. People, my comments were like, "Why are they down?" They just reported really strong beats, and I agree. It looks like they reported really strong beats, but their Braintree TPV total payment volume showed deceleration to 2%. That's their bread and butter. That's what's going to drive the stock, and that was no good. That's a no bueno. And again, this goes into my thesis where why invest in fintech names? It's a highly competitive space, low margins, and competition is just cannibalizing each other's take rate. Like it's a brutal business to be a part of. So like maybe you can read through that Braintree's TPV deceleration is bullish for Adyen, maybe. But again, we'll see. It's just tick for tack. It's a very tricky industry. This afternoon, yeah, AMD has a tech problem. Like it's their software component of their ecosystem is it's underwhelming. Significant doesn't matter. You can't just be a hardware company anymore. You need an ecosystem, and they're trying to pitch their ecosystem with that ZT Systems acquisition. You don't do it via a server. You have to do it via software. Follow the Nvidia playbook on what they did for CUDA. And it doesn't matter what AMD's earnings report is going to be like today. Even if they show really strong numbers, it's going to be hardware based, and I don't think you can't just be a hardware company this day and age. Snap, you guys know my opinions on Evan. Uh, Snap also like I don't know. Meta's ad numbers were actually kind of underwhelming, especially their guide. So I don't. I'd be a little alarmed on Snapchat. I'm also a little alarmed on TTD maybe in the near term based on the Meta numbers. Same with Google. Google's cloud was the star of the show last earnings cycle. So I think I think compute is absolutely going to be like a necessity, and it's going to be on fire in this agentic AI environment we're about to enter. However, like last week, Microsoft struggled due to Azure numbers. weak AI workloads on their cloud. I don't know if that's an Azure issue or a cloud service provider issue. And today we'll get some visibility in Google Cloud, and we'll also get even more on Thursday on AWS. But like that is something I'm monitoring because I think it's more of an Azure issue, but we'll get some more color today. Um, yeah, that's my takes. This great earnings afternoon. It's gonna be exciting. AMD also, you have to like. I'm bearish on AMD long term. Doesn't mean they're gonna have a near term bump because you
Especially,
have to
I
look.
think they get one last nice bump for like. I feel
They
like
could,
there's still some big dogs that like need a better price that want to get out. You know what I mean?
well,
Like
that's
I
it could
expect it.
because like you look to the left, like the
Yeah.
stock, the chart's brutal. So you have to ask yourself, what's being priced in? I do believe the stock is like my take on like it's a hardware company and there's no ecosystem, that might be being priced into the stock right now at the current valuation. And if there's any hint of an ecosystem flywheel on AMD on the earnings today, I think it could run. But I just haven't seen proof of it. So you have to wait and see.
Yeah. We will see. Spy history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. I love this because, we'll see a lot of things that kind of happen on a chart, and you'll be like, oh, that looks like this is going to happen again. But I'm sure, most people that have tried trading like that, you've realized it never really does exactly the same, but it will do it will move very similarly, right? It kind of rhymes instead of repeating. So love that. This is kind of just like a timeline of everything here, with the tariffs and all that back in 2017, starting there. Basically, U.S. withdrawals from TPP, then U.S. renegotiating NAFTA, U.S. and China discussing tariffs back. Where is that? That's got to be like. That's right when Trump came in the first time, right around there, and yeah, and now you can see the lows we made and up 8% from there. So interesting stuff. You got any thoughts on this, Shy?
Um, I mean, people are referencing like there might be a December 2018 event that occurs. If you guys don't remember, like Q4 of 2018 was brutal, and that was driven by tariff stuff. I just maybe if earning reports have been good, not great. If that continues, you have to ask yourself like, what is the tailwind? Like clearly, the Fed aren't going to be cutting rates anytime soon. Um, there could be some FUD. They're really good. So either way, like I think Trump won't let the market crash. I know it's so stupid and TLDR for me to say that, and I have nothing really to back it up. I really don't think he's gonna let there be a 10 to 15% crash in the market. I just don't. I think maybe there's gonna be a 5 to 8% correction, and maybe he's utilizing the stock market a bit for leverage against the Fed to force Powell to do what he wants. He's done that before. That's in his playbook. So I think you have to ask yourself, like, this is all of these things are pawns. Like there is a larger game at play, and we're in an Elon regime in the White House. Elon is the goat on 4D vision on what he wants and how to get there by using pawns, little sacrifice like, pieces. So like, I think a lot of stuff we're seeing in the first month of this year is a lot of the pawns taking place. The bigger picture is going to come to light very soon. So and I think the bigger picture will be an ultra tailwind. It really will.
Yep, good stuff there. Let's see what else we got. Palantir rips on huge earnings beats, so we talked about this plenty, but obviously, for me, I expect a lot of profit takers probably at open that caught this move and that have been holding. They're probably going to cash in some. So I would expect a little bit of selling to start the open, but I definitely wouldn't open up and just fade this. What Palantir is doing, right? Not something I'd be looking to buy up here, but also not something I'm like, oh, we should be trying to short this, right? Not at all. So obviously ripping new highs there. Gotta play the momentum, but I also not looking for entries up here after hitting $100, right? So I think what Shy said earlier when we were talking about Palantir, how you get big macro driven pullbacks. This is definitely a name that should be on top of the list to look to dip into. You know what I mean, when you get those significant dips, but obviously not super attractive at all-time highs like this. So put it on the list and wait for those dips, right?
I mean, That's what you got to do. I have a couple names like Palantir is not on my DCA list, but I have a couple names or valuations in the same category as Palantir. Like I just can't in good consciousness like add to those positions of this valuation. But like
Yeah.
that's like when you have a couple of those names, that's why you get excited when there's blood in the market. Like there gives you those opportunities for your high conviction names that you want more exposure in. It's like some short-term pain for the long-term gains. Like that's a classic example when the yen carry trade crisis for Palantir, like they went to $22, 22 in August. It went from 35, I think, or $32 to 22. Valuation, people were still claiming like, so it's super expensive on traditional metrics. They're referencing it as, but if you bought in a macro-driven pullback, the yen carry trade crisis, which was a pure technical-driven pullback, you will 5x your investment in 6 months. 5x in 6 months. Don't let valuation stop you from participating in high growth companies with massive moats and early secular growth themes. Take advantage of it when there's macro driven pullbacks like the yen carry trade crisis. There's going to be one or two black swan events that's going to occur in the next like 1 or 2 years. Like there's just going to be. I have a gut feeling about it. Something weird and wonky is going to occur. Capitalize on it. Even though like Palantir looks expensive at 40 or $50, and it pulls back to that level due to a macro-driven news catalyst, I would add, just because like they're proving my thesis. We're operating system of AI, and everyone's taking notice. Everyone's going to want exposure in this name. Every hedge fund, they missed out on Nvidia 2 years ago. They're slightly missing out on Palantir on the second stage of AI, and they don't want to experience an Nvidia like move and not have exposure.
Yep, I'm with you. We got Celsius making fresh 52-week lows. The stock that just keeps on making lows, eh? Poor
So
Celsius, man.
crazy.
Poor Celsius. Gosh. I remember we were what, like actual ticks off of $100, like 2 cents or something. It was ridiculous. A name I traded for a while and loved for a minute, and not loving as much anymore with with the way it's been trading. So Celsius obviously just having a hard time, not getting any real catalysts or anything to push it up, or even go sideways. I mean, you can see, you guys hear me all the time, right? I mean, after seeing us drill lows, what do you want to start to see after that? If the stock's gonna maybe try and recover, well, I at least want to start to see it base, right? Go sideways, stop at least making those aggressive lower lows and lower highs, and maybe just at least go sideways, consolidate for a bit, and then we want to see those higher highs, higher lows starting to be made with momentum. And you can clearly see we're nowhere near that with Celsius here. So gotta be careful here. Obviously, a name I'm still interested in, but not. I mean, it's kind of like the question that we always ask: why? When we have a bunch of other opportunities right now. Obviously, if you have some, extra cash, you want to stay diversified and you like the company, you can make those decisions for yourself. But there's definitely some better opportunities elsewhere, in my opinion, at the moment. So until we see more clarity here, I think it's a tough trade. What about you, Shy? What are you thinking?
I'm selling all my Palantir to buy Celsius because that's the next growth avenue. No, Celsius, they have a narrative issue. Like I
Yeah.
referenced, like narrative issues take time to phase out. And the way to do it is an earnings report. So there's nothing really you can do about Celsius where they need two straight earnings reports of just like minimal noise.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gone one of those yet. So even if it recovers from here and this upcoming earnings cycle, it's really not going to recover back to the 40 or $50 level until it follows it up with another earnings report. So it's one of those names where I think it's undervalued. I think the fair value is actually like $35 to $38 if you want to use Monster's metrics. But you can make the argument Monster Energy Drink has a premium because they've proven they have a seat at the table for decades, and they're going to maintain their seat at the table. Or Celsius had their seat at the table before Pepsi essentially pulled a chair when they went to go sit down again, and now they're trying to get back up to the table, and they're at the whelms of Pepsi. And I think I, my green light for Celsius has always been if Pepsi reinvests in them again, buys more equity, I'm building a 5 or 6% position in Celsius, but Pepsi hasn't done any of that yet, and this is like That's alarming to me. I think that's like the big tell on what Celsius should do. Market's open. Let's see what Palantir is going to do.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm keeping an eye on Tesla on those daily lows that we have made at that 373.04. If we want to potentially sweep those, I'm keeping my eye on it for potential call positions. But we have that gap above. I would target the 50% retracement.
I wouldn't be surprised if Snowflake catches a major bid off those Palantir earnings. Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah. To your points on Celsius a little bit, I'll be convinced a little more on Celsius when I start seeing all the influencers, all the skateboarders and motocross riders, instead of wearing Monster Energy and Red Bull helmets, they're throwing on Celsius helmets. That might be a little bit of a tell for us, Shy, when that happens. just saying it right now. Just saying it right now. No idea, but we'll see. Yeah, snow looking interesting. I haven't looked at snow in a minute. Probably since the earnings when you got all fat and happy with your profits, huh?
Bro, this is going to be a $300 stock.
Oh, she looks really good. Oh, breaking.
I'm telling you, like it's going. I said it at 130, 140. I want a Fox. I want a national TV, which is the one rule you're not supposed to do. Like when I talk to people before going on Fox Business,
Shouldn't have done that, brother.
Don't stick your neck out and assign a price target with a name. Don't do it, especially your first time. And I was like, I remember towards the tail end of that that interview with Charles Payne, I was like, fuck it. Snowflake 300 near term. I said it on there, and I think that's what's going to take place. So I think it's just one of those names where, God, it's set up perfectly for what it's going to be, an explosive re-rating, like explosive. And if I'm wrong, fine. Give me that one L. Like I've been right about PLTR. I've been right about IonQ, Rocket Lab, CrowdStrike. Maybe this is my one I'm wrong on, but I just don't think so. I really don't.
He might be wrong on one, huh?
I might be wrong. Yeah, but Snowflake's catching a major bid. It's up 3% now. Yep.
So Tesla,
That's what I thought.
I'm just watching yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows. So yesterday's highs are sitting at, what is this? 389.17. If we want to get a strong, aggressive break over that, back test that area, I'll be looking for some call positions to potentially fill this gap we have. Nothing too crazy, just to move basically back to 400. But maybe capitalize a little bit on some options, since I haven't really traded many options this year. I might be down for that. But also watching the daily low range if we want to go break those lows. And if I see some aggressive buying, kind of reclaiming that area, I might also kind of look for the same position, just a little bit different, because we would get in a bit lower there, have a tighter risk. But kind of what I'm looking at on the option side of things. Futures, nothing actionable for me quite yet, but I'd like to think we get a setup today. Yesterday I didn't trade, but nothing clear. But maybe today we get something nice.
PayPal's almost down 10%. Jeez.
There's Nvidia ad. Nvidia is getting a pop. Lows. Tesla not doing much quite yet. Microsoft taking a hit.
By the way, for everyone, I'm trading Nvidia for their earnings, but I'm not touching it until, what is it? 125.
He's doing it. 125.
I need them to reclaim 125. Again,
Heard that.
stage 4 breakdown. That thesis gets squashed as soon as it recovers above 125. So right now, I just don't feel the urgency to participate. But it's like a no man's zone right now, like, because it's below that 125 level, and I think it's going to retest at anchored average VWAP if you want to use it from their January 2024 breakouts. It bounced perfectly there at April 2024, and it bounced perfectly there again in August 2024. This feels like it's going to retest that level again, and that level is 103. And I was like, that's why I've been saying $100, $120, $105. That's the buy zone for Nvidia if it hits that pre-earnings. It looks like we're getting somewhat of a bounce, so maybe we won't get that. But either way, I'm not touching it. TMDX is like bouncing hard past like month. This is like continuing as well. Wow, this says struggle. I mean, by recovery, I mean it was at $58. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So like now it's like 30% bounce. That's nice to see. I do think though, this is where's a stage 4 breakdown, like the one I referenced from Nvidia. What's the level for TMTX? It's 118, so it's got a ways to go. It's in stage 4 breakdown, so that's a great example. Like once they gap down from that 118 level, if you sold and just waited until it recovered above it, you would not have lost 40% like I did. Like you just, but I'm a long-term investor, so it's fine. But either way, Palantir is retesting highs. It's not fading. That's so crazy.
Let her
That's
cook,
great to
man.
see,
Let her
but
cook. Yeah, that is weird to see. You just expect, especially when we were expecting more of a down move, right? I wasn't expecting that big of a move on earnings, even if it did move up. So I definitely would think, like, anybody that's long is offloading right now, but I guess it's not the case. Not yet. Let's see.
love to see it.
T-Dizzle not doing much. I have alerts set, so I'm not really watching it super closely, but if something does happen, I'll be ready for it. Also, just keeping my eyes on Coinbase with, Bitcoin getting bought up off that dip. Might be something I want to participate in if there's a nice setup. But again, options have been light for me, man. Not really touching them
Quantum
much.
is catching a major bid right now.
Ion Q. How
Ion
you
Q.
doing? Oh, how you doing? 4386. What fib is that? I have a 50% retracement sitting here. I don't remember from what. Oh, you know what that is? It's from the gap, Shy.
Oh, from the Jensen
That's
comments?
the 50% retracement of the gap on Ion Q.
Let's see.
Still struggling to get over this.
Nancy's pick, the Palantir of healthcare, TEM is, again, just continuing their dominance. Like when did she buy it? I think it was like 2 weeks ago, maybe. Look at that, just
Wild.
it doubled. It nearly doubled.
Wild.
That's
Gosh.
insane.
Hell of a trader she is, huh?
You gotta listen to grandma. All
Gotta
the
listen to
time.
grandma. Yeah, pretty much. Oh gosh.
It's a pretty tamed open though. I'm watching right
Yeah,
now.
very
SPY
light.
is essentially flat. Something's flowing through TDD. Trade desk is down 3%, but I can't find any news flow on that. That's the only red on my radar. Oh, no, that's outdated news. Oh, Jeff Green, CEO, sold 18 million in stock. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it. That's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, you should go drive like 50 miles and knock on his office. Like, what the f, Jeff?
I know I should.
What is this?
I have a special note from Shy.
WTF?
The fuck, man? Oh gosh. VIX getting back under the 18 bucks, so volatility kind of moving down there. Obviously still high enough to influence your position, so remember that when you are sizing. I literally have a futures calculator up on my screen at all times in the day. It's so easy. I mean, I know how much I want to risk dollar amount, but obviously sometimes I'm risking more points on a certain trade than another. You can't just be guessing how much you're sizing. So I literally have a futures calculator up, however many points I'm risking, throw that in, see how much money I actually want to risk against the position, and then it tells me how many contracts I need to trade, right? Don't be guessing on your sizing, especially when we're in the market we are, where volatility is super important. You just can't ignore it. Here comes NQ, about to make new highs from pre-market there. Making new highs while ES lagging, something to note. I know I always point that out on the show, but a few weeks ago, like a week, 2 weeks ago, ES was really the leader. Whereas lately on the intraday price action, really hasn't been. Something to note. Just took highs on NQ. I'd like to see us push to... Where's that level I have? Hold on. Here we go. Hourly highs. 600. 600 even on NQ. That would be 6,067.75 on ES. I would like to see us push to that on NQ. Maybe form some divergence at those highs. And potentially find a downside trade. But market's looking good so far. And from yesterday, we did have a beautiful setup to the long side earlier in the morning. I wasn't even awake for it. And then things were kind of quiet for the most part in terms of price action, except for that one giant candle we got it open yesterday. Other than that, it was I mean, for the most part, sideways. And I got off early, so maybe we get continuation of kind of that playing out. We go see these buy side levels at 600. Maybe we can even push higher than that, but I think that might be the spot to look for on NQ to maybe see some short models playing out, but nothing actionable yet. Let's see.
I'm seeing, yeah, I mean, not much is occurring today. I'm
still keeping
breadth
my
is
eye on
widening
Tesla,
for
though.
sure because big tech's not really moving much, but you're seeing some runners occur under the hood. Let's see what else.
Tesla, just an inside candle, so can't do anything with that yet. Small caps, kind of quiet. Little pop. Crude oil popping pretty hard there. Gold continuing to rip as well. Wow, look at gold. Holy bud.
Flight to safety.
Yeah. 28.70 to 80.
I remember people wanted crypto to be that flight to safety. It is not. That is not how it ended up panning out a bit.
You remember that Bitcoin and gold ETF? I'm just checking that out now. Curious.
Oh
30
yeah,
bucks.
how's that doing?
Not really doing much, to be honest. More flat here. So, a little up, though, for sure. But definitely just kind of consolidating. More. It looks more like crypto than gold, that's for sure. Interesting stuff. Alan, good morning, brother. Well, if the chat has any tickers, feel free to throw them out there. But nothing crazy that I'm watching. Just Tesla. We're gonna see if we get a break over the previous day highs. Want to hold that with aggression. If that's so, I might be looking for some calls there. Take the second options trade of the year, maybe. We'll see. If not, I'm just gonna be focused on the futures today, as we normally are. Might be getting something I like here. Yes, failing to make new highs still. Did make an equal high at those highs right there, though. So I expect equal highs to get taken out. So I still expect another high on ES. Market's still looking strong. NQ not giving anything up quite yet. We do have a new 4-hour candle in 17 minutes on the futures. I don't believe that's on the stocks because the times are different. So just on the futures there. But watch out for that. And then do we have any? I know we have data at 10. Jolt's coming in factory orders, so expect volatility at 10 o'clock Eastern. But that's pretty much it besides the speakers we have and, of course, the earnings we have later. So don't have too much to watch out for. Coin getting a nice bounce off the lows there. Obviously, Bitcoin got bought up yesterday after the dip, so not a surprise seeing coin doing well here.
I think this is also like emphasizing, and I keep saying this, but like it's a stock picker's market this year. It just really is. Like you're seeing. I'm not just talking about Buck, but like Palantir clearly, but also like Tempus AI, TEM. Like healthcare is the one of the main industries that's going to get disruptive in a positive way for for AI, and Tempus is set up to. I don't know. Like this is, I hate when people use this phrase because oh, they're Amazon of Africa, Amazon of Southeast Asia, but it is the best way to kind of create a narrative for like retail investors. Like what PLTR is doing for industrial AI, let's just say that. Tempus is kind of positioned to like transform healthcare AI. They have a stupid amount of data. And if Nancy is, like we mentioned this yesterday, Nancy and the hubby, they do pillow talk. If the hubby's doing a $500,000 option on Tempus when he only invests in large mega caps and Tempus is a less than $10 billion company, I'm reading between the lines a bit, and there's going to be some initiatives coming, some flow coming towards the healthcare space in a Trump-led presidency for AI initiatives. And I think Tempus would get a lot of that dollar flow. And they're catching a major bid off of Palantir's earnings because like you're seeing AI just taking off and you're just having some read-throughs on it. But I want to be cautious because they've doubled in 6 weeks on a narrative, not fundamentals. So like when they report their earnings, like I lean towards like bearish. Patient in the name, but man, they're catching a bid. $64. It's crazy. And that's another
Wild.
Kathy Wood special. Kathy Wood's been accumulating that stock all last year.
Yeah, one of the
And
Nancy
Palantir keeps
stocks.
hitting new high of days. This is nuts.
Any thoughts on Apple? I mean, I'll give my 2 cents on Apple. Um, why right now? Just why? I don't see a point to invest long term on this dip. I think this is not a significant enough dip for me to want to buy shares on. And as for intraday trading or shorter term trading, I also don't see the opportunity here because look at the moves we made from October of this last year to the highs we made of December of last year. And now we're right back down to those October levels here in January. Some massive moves. I mean, we went $38 to the upside pretty much, and then $38 right back down. It's huge moves for Apple without consolidating really at all. I think this thing goes sideways for month, 2 months, to be honest. I don't think we see a whole lot unless Apple comes out with a massive catalyst, some sort of innovation happening, whatever it may be. They need something going because I see nothing here. I no opportunities whatsoever for me right now. Even for the long term. I mean, dips are great. Love buying dips. This ain't a real dip in my opinion. It might look like it on a daily, but like go to a monthly chart, go to a weekly. I think if I'm looking for dips on Apple, I'm definitely looking a lot lower. So just my 2 cents personally. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on Apple, Shy.
Yeah, you buy dips when it's an oversold nature and they are early and a disruptive technology. They have a disruptive tech in an early secular growth theme, and it's an oversold name. You That's when you buy the dip. This is not a dip. Like if
Yeah.
you look at the past 6 months, like even past year, like this is the name that I've been
It's a
very
big
vocal
dip from
about.
the highs, but like
It,
that's it.
it it's just nuts. Like it had near term monetization from Apple Intelligence fully priced into the stock. That's not the case. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to happen. First half, it for sure won't happen the first half of this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe in the latter half, but again, last year it was pricing a Q1 2025 like monetization of AI. It didn't have. It's not going to happen. So stocks reflecting this game re-rated.
Yeah.
It's healthy. It had to.
Don't get me wrong, like it's dropped decently, but like from those massive highs we ran up to, right? It's like it's not, it hasn't really lost any value, right? So definitely just
Hmm.
not enough of a dip. We need more. We need more blood. That's why too. Yesterday I was on Spaces on the stock pick Spaces, and I'm just like, guys, like I don't understand. Look at a SPY chart, look at a daily chart, and look at where we closed yesterday. Freaking out for what? I don't get it. And here's my take. Like if you're freaking out about this tip, oh boy, you better buckle in. You better buckle in because I'm not this big bad bear or anything. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying at some point we are going to get a nice dip in the market. And guess what? If you thought anything over this year, any of the dips we've gotten this year are anything to worry about, anything actually significant, you got another thing coming, man. You got a whole nother story coming because this is absolutely nothing. If the market really wants to sell, we can absolutely sell, and it's going to be way more aggressive, way faster, way nastier than anything we've seen this year. So it's just funny. You see people absolutely freaking out on Twitter for no reason. This is nothing, guys. So I just prepare yourself, right? Like I'm not this big bad bear. I play whatever's in front of me. I play whatever my model tells me to play. Okay, it doesn't matter up, down, I don't care. But again, if you thought that was anything, man, you got another thing coming. If we get a real dip in this market, you better be able to survive because that was nothing. It's gonna be something to take advantage of. I was saying this back at the lows of not last year, the year prior, 2023, in October. Man, I was like, these lows are gonna create absolute millionaires, and it absolutely did. I mean, look at where we are from those lows, right? And I think that cycle continues. It's just a matter of time, right? We're gonna get a cycle again where it's blood in the water, everything's going down, and I just want to be here to capitalize on it at the end of the day. So, name of the game is survive, guys. Don't let the market cook you. Shy, any other
Dude,
thoughts, brother?
Palantir's up 28%. It's just like running. It's just
Oh,
running.
whoa,
This is just crazy talk.
whoa.
But yeah, just be cautious out there, guys. valuation is clearly not taking effect in a lot of these names. It's going to eventually, but I think the market is pricing that execution is going to catch up with their valuation eventually. So that's why PLTR just continues to run. Uh, I have a 11% cash position now. I will not be using that cash anytime soon in the markets. Like I just don't see any deals yet, and that's great. I mean, there's going to be some like PayPal. They had a, to be honest, they had a solid quarter. Like they just had a Braintree was a weakness, and they're down 10%. Imagine if they missed the top and bottom line as well. Like there's going to be some 20% downward moves on stocks that I'm bullish on. That isn't thesis breaking that earnings report, but the price might be reflecting that. So like be prepared to capitalize, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun earnings cycle.
Yes, sir. Gonna be a good time for sure. Well, the whole crew, we appreciate you tuning in as always. If you haven't already, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the Stock Twits channel. And yeah, we'll see you for another episode bright in the morning. What do we got? It's Wacky Wednesday? Hump Day?
Hump day.
Hump
Whoop, whoop.
Day! Let's go. Well, more earnings, more to look forward to. Crazy week, guys. Play the volatility, know your sizing, know your environment, and let's kill it. Let's make some money. So everybody enjoy the day. Play safe. We'll see you bright and early in the morning. Later, Stock Twits crew. All right, let's go.